and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me as always is my co-host, Anthony.
Hello.
You alright?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
I'm good. You excited to talk about Loki?
I am indeed.
You're excited this week, not me this week.
I am excited.
I'm excited still. It's just a really good, I know straight into spoilers, but a really good episode. I'm quite surprised at, and I know we're going straight into Loki here, but how quick this is moving.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people seem to be thinking.
Devoed that my WandaVision theory wasn't right.
I'm a little bit, yeah. I'm a little bit.
I was like, oh man.
It might be. You never know.
I just thought they'd throw in a twist somewhere, but they haven't so far.
There's got to be, though. There's too much going on this early.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought.
Far too much. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get to Loki.
Also, and again, I know we're talking about Loki, but very quickly, the fact that they played I Need a Hero after we'd done the He-Man thing.
I know.
I was like, Nick's going to be in his element.
I was absolutely buzzing when it came on, but I kind of wasn't. And when we get to the news, because you haven't seen one of the trailers that we're talking about, but it was a bit like, this is good, but it's getting a bit old now. But
in my head, all I could hear was, I need a He-Man.
Disney should have jumped on that and put it in this one.
Right?
They should have just jumped all over it. So on this week's show, we've got quite a lot to go through. There's quite a lot of news, loads of Marvel news this week.
Okay.
We've got Guardians of the Galaxy, the game.
Yes.
The game, not the film. Black Widow, What If, She-Hulk, Spider-Man, and some Thor news. DC, we've got some Blue Beetle news and the Flash news. I feel like the Flash has become the new Justice League. There's a bit of Flash news every single week. And 6 months after we've watched the Flash, there's still going to be Flash news coming out every week. And then non-Marvel or DC news, we've got Star Wars news. We've got the Toxic Avenger news. That has not been said in a podcast for a long time. You don't even know what it is, do you, Anthony? We've had to talk about this. You do now because I've explained it to you.
Yeah, but I don't.
Never heard of it. No, fair play. And then we've got some Assassin's Creed news as well. After that, we'll do a full breakdown of episode 2 of Loki, titled The Variant.
Yeah.
This week it was called. And then at the end, as we always do, we'll be discussing the listeners' thoughts and theories and our thoughts and theories, if we've got any good ones this week, in Pod Fans Assemble. There will be spoilers all the way through. Obviously, when we get to the Loki breakdown, that's going to be really spoiler heavy. We won't be doing a non-spoiler review of the episode. There'll be speculation in the theories and in some of the news as well. And as always, if you want to skip past any part of the podcast, you can or go straight to the review. We will put timestamps in the description. So let's crack on with the news. So Guardians of the Guardians of the Galaxy game. You've not seen the trailer?
I've not seen the trailer, but I've read up little bits about it, because there's people that aren't happy but are a bit disappointed by the sounds of it. I think it's about kind of the gameplay itself by the looks of it.
You can only play as Star-Lord.
Yeah, you can't play as any of the other characters.
It's only Star-Lord. So it's coming from Square Enix, don't know how you pronounce it, but they're the same company that made the first Avengers or the last Avengers game that came out, which I think a lot of people felt was a bit disappointing.
Yeah.
I didn't really like it.
I've heard very mixed reviews. I haven't played it myself.
No. But I got it on launch day, and I was really disappointed. I just didn't like the fight mechanics or any of it. It just felt a bit meh. It just wasn't great. It's an Avengers game. I mean, how can you get it that wrong? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It should have been the big release, and I think it was quite disappointing. But it's coming this year. So October 26th this year.
Okay.
So it's quite a quick turnaround. The trailer, which is why I'm talking about I Need a Hero or Holding Out for a Hero, the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer has it on it as well. Yeah. So
it's really being overused.
Loki, it's the third time I've heard it in 5 days, which is fine. It's an alright song, but it's very...
And then the last time we heard it before that was what, Shrek 2?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah?
Probably, yeah. Bonnie Tyler is raking it in with all the royalties. She's sitting there rubbing her hands together, play it in another trailer. Do it.
Do you know, she tweeted the other day, just off topic, but she tweeted the other day saying, do you know how many tweets I get when there's a total eclipse?
What, when there's a real total eclipse?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So people always check on her. Are you okay?
Why?
I don't know.
That's amazing.
But it's funny,
That's brilliant. So October 26th is coming out. You can only play as Star-Lord. And it's got a very different look as well. So I say very different. It's that weird point where it doesn't look completely different to the MCU. So you just know it's different. It's kind of like they're trying to take elements from it, but it looks different enough for people to not particularly like it.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. But we'll see. I mean, we've seen some gameplay trailers for it. It looks all right.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go when it comes out.
I'll give it a go, yeah.
It'll still sell loads, to be fair. Black Widow news. Good news for our UK listeners. We will be getting it in the UK 2 days early, so we don't have to wait until the 9th of July. We're going to get it on the 7th, so on Wednesday. So Wednesday's
so same day as Loki anyway.
Same day as Loki. After all the moving stuff about, we're getting it the same day as Loki anyway.
Wonderful.
It's only going to be in cinemas on the 7th though. So on Disney Plus for the premiere release, it's not coming out until the Friday.
Okay.
So they're gonna stick with that. When we're gonna do our bonus episode, I don't know. We are doing a bonus episode of Black Widow.
Yeah.
When we release it, should we probably wait until the Friday to release it so that everybody can have seen the film before we?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I think if we
maybe
kind
the
of
Sunday.
drop it over the weekend.
We'll drop it a little bit later.
Yeah.
Over the weekend. We'll confirm it. We'll put it on Twitter and Facebook.
Give us chance.
Still got a few weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, give us chance to kind of
figure out what we're doing.
I was gonna say like mull it about a bit.
Yeah.
You know, like taking it all in.
Yeah.
We make notes. We do what we can.
Believe it or not, we do make notes sometimes.
I do sometimes.
Do.
You do more than me.
I do more, to be fair, yeah. What if news? We've got more rumoured episode details from the Illuminati. Every week they're coming out with a different episode, and none of these have been confirmed yet. Let's hope they're right, because some of them sound really good.
Yeah, they do, to be fair.
So this time they're talking about Gamora's episode, and they reckon that the episode's going to see Gamora still being evil, which I think we've seen some pictures of her in like Thanos style armor.
Oh.
And she's going to be acting as an assassin, and her target is Tony Stark.
Oh.
So it's going to be Gamora hunting Tony Stark. There's no details on why she's after him or anything like that, but we've never really seen them two interact.
No.
So that should be quite interesting, and depending on when it's set as well, whether it's like early days Iron Man when he's still a little bit cocky.
Yeah.
That'd be quite interesting.
Well, I mean, he was still cocky all the way through.
He was, but
he was just more arrogant about it at the beginning.
Yeah, like Iron Man 1 or 2 level.
Yeah,
and Tony Stark. That'd be good to see. She-Hulk news. So we had some news last week about Jamila Jamil playing the villain, and now the Direct are reporting that Hulk's son Scar will be appearing in the series.
Oh.
In some way. They don't really shed much more light on it than that. So in the comics, in the Planet Hulk comics, Hulk, not Banner, Hulk, because he's Hulk the whole time.
Yeah.
He has a child while he's on Sakaar. And I don't know whether we're going to end up with a similar situation in the MCU. So like Hulk was putting it about a bit when he was on Sakaar, potentially. It just sounds... I mean...
How?
I don't know. Time goes differently in Sakaar as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Without going into too much detail, I just meant logistics. I'm
no,
sorry.
Okay.
I just didn't understand it.
We're not that sort of podcast.
No, I know, but...
Do you know what? I mean, it's good. I like the fact that we're getting Scar from the comics, but it seems a bit like silly, for want of a better word. It's like we've got Hulk, and now we've got Hulk's cousin who's got Hulk powers as well, or who's going to have Hulk powers, and then we're going to have Hulk's son, and it's just a bit... Is it just a bit too much? Do you know what I mean?
It's gonna like we're getting the Marvels. We're gonna have the Hulks.
Exactly. Yeah,
like it's
something like that. I mean, again,
with a Brady Bunch start with all their faces.
That'd be amazing. That would be absolutely brilliant. Absolutely amazing.
Here's a story.
Go on, carry on.
I don't know the rest.
Anyway, moving on swiftly. Spider-Man No Way Home news. Kind of news. So on Monday, Sony Pictures Argentina on their Twitter released a short teaser, and it was basically just the Argentinian version of the Spider-Man No Way Home logo, like zooming out with the Spider-Man music playing over it, and then at the very end it glitched. And it was a very, very similar glitch look and sound to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So everyone's all over it saying, this is our first confirmation. And then the fact that like an hour later they removed the tweet.
Yeah.
Which makes you think they shouldn't have released it that early.
Do you know what though? I don't think it's accidental.
No, I don't. Well, Sony Brazil released it then again, their version, like 2 hours later, and theirs is still up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the glitch is bigger. It's a different. It's not exactly the same. It seems like a slightly longer glitch.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we all, if this isn't Spider-Verse.
Imagine if it drops and it's just got nothing that we were expecting.
But when is this trailer coming? I mean, it's out in like 6 months, less than 6 months.
Yeah,
and we've still not had a teaser because
it's going to be 6 months tomorrow, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's Wednesday the 16th today, so
okay,
17th of December. So
I didn't even know that's when it was coming out. Well done, Anthony. Fountain of knowledge. I like that. I knew it was in December.
I was so proud of myself.
Maybe we'll get a trailer tomorrow. Maybe because they're definitely building to something.
Yeah,
they've got to be. Wouldn't it be great though if this was if they just didn't give us a trailer? It'd be annoying.
It'd be weird.
It'd be annoying. But does it? I mean, the purpose of a trailer is to market the film. Yeah. Does Spider-Man 3 need a trailer, or will people just go and see it?
Don't know.
Or can we just get? Could you just get away with little teasers like that? Like what they've just released, they could release that in the cinema.
Yeah,
they could release that as the trailer, and I don't think it'd get any less people going to watch it because everyone's into the MCU, aren't they? So kind of don't want to know. I'd love to go in and just
imagine getting a teaser trailer though, where it's like you just see the back of Spider-Man and he takes the mask off, and then someone goes, "I don't recognize you."
Something along those lines.
Just so that it's like, boom, something's going on.
Yeah. I think it'd be good if the trailer or whatever teaser we get just teases the fact that we might be getting Toby and Andrew and doesn't confirm it. We don't want to see it. I don't want to see him in the trailer.
No, I don't.
I just want to tease that they might be coming. Even a tease that they probably are coming, just so it sort of like let us know, and then just have it be completely... We see him for the first time in the movie. Yeah. That'd be brilliant. Thor Love and Thunder news. So some official promo art has leaked this week. It was a crew member t-shirt that they've all been given when they've wrapped filming, I think, and it shows you Thor in his new costume, Valkyrie in a costume that looks very similar to what she had in Ragnarok, and then what looks to be Jane Foster as the mighty Thor in a costume very similar to the comics, which I thought we knew was going down that route anyway, didn't we? But again, it's just... I can't. It feels weird that it's actually happening. We're actually getting Jane Foster as Thor.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be dead good, and the fact that we're sticking to the costume by the looks of it as well.
I think it's nice that Natalie Portman's getting a chance as well.
Yeah,
because she wasn't in Ragnarok.
No, and she didn't really get.
Basically, she's only been in the shit ones so far.
She has
out of them all.
She has, and she's not popped up in any like the Avengers movies or anything like that.
No,
she's basically been in probably the 2 worst Marvel movies.
I know. So that's why I wanted to have her moment, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because she's not a bad actress.
No.
But I don't think she's been given quite the opportunity as of yet.
Well, we said this all the way through the countdown, didn't we? She's not a bad actress, and to have her... But again, not even just the fact that she's in these not great films. The actual, like, the lines that she's been given and the direction she's been given made her kind of look a bit shit.
Yeah.
So to actually see her in this with Taika directing, it's going to be brilliant. And then we've got some Morbius news. Can't say news, kind of news. Tyrese Gibson has been doing some interviews with the rest of the Fast and the Furious 9 cast this week because it's all getting its marketing going. I think it's on the 24th of this month. And he did an interview with Brandon Davis from comicbook.com. Yeah. And Brandon basically asked him, is Morbius set in the MCU? And Tyrese said yes. It's okay. Just said it. It was out there, just kind of like nodding, going, yeah, it is. So I don't know how I felt about that straight away, but then GameSpot apparently got in touch with Sony and said, is it? And they said no. No, it's not. Tyrese is wrong. So who's wrong? I don't know. It does make me question. I don't really want it to be, but then why have we got Michael Keaton in it?
I mean, to be fair, I think I'd just like laugh. Like I'd probably say that stuff. Because I find it funny.
I just don't get the impression Tyrese knows.
He probably doesn't, and that's why I just come.
Yeah. This sounds like a complicated question about it. Just smile and nod. Mm-hmm.
Just smile and wave, boys.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Spider-Man and Morbius, is he? Yep.
What about Superman?
Yeah. Superman. Somebody said on Twitter if he asked him as Batman in the movie, he'd probably just nodded and gone, yeah, it is. And then last bit of Marvel news, it's mainly Disney Plus news. So it's been confirmed by the Hollywood Reporter today that Wednesdays really now are going to be the new Fridays on Disney Plus, and all of Disney's original content TV series will be releasing on Wednesdays now and not Fridays, but movies will still be coming out on Friday, and it's to sort of separate it from.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. I like the fact that we get things a little bit earlier, but then it's only really the first episode that makes it earlier because we've still got to then wait a week till the next episode. But it's pretty much all come off the back of Loki being the most watched season premiere on Disney Plus. Whether that's because of a Wednesday or whether it's just because it's Loki and everybody's buzzing for it.
We all knew it was going to get kind of the ratings. So I don't particularly think that the day will have changed it. I don't know whether it's... See, I can't even say for definite. Like, I would have said from our point of view, it might be because things are easing on the lockdowns, people going out a little bit more, so they were changing it to a middle of the week.
Yeah, because people go out on Friday,
I don't know what's happening in America, so I don't know whether they've...
I think they're about the same as us.
Are they?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought they'd been kind of easing a lot sooner than we had.
Potentially. I don't know. I think it depends on where you are in the US. But yeah, I think that's going to have something to do with it, isn't it? The fact that people will be getting back to normal life and they'll be going out on a Friday and Saturday and they don't want to. I've been looking to
book a table to go for food, and you cannot get anywhere from Friday to Sunday.
It's become a bit of a nightmare, hasn't it? So they're onto something. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think the next series, What If's going to be the big tell, because I think it's like WandaVision. You hadn't had anything for ages.
No,
we had no Marvel content for ages. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, big name anyway. So is WandaVision. Don't
and it was straight off the back of WandaVision. There was only a week's gap, wasn't there? Yeah. So everyone was really excited about it.
Exactly. And then you got Loki, who was just going to sell it himself. But then you're going to get to What If, and I think a lot of non-diehard Marvel fans aren't really going to know what it's about, and possibly will be put off by the fact it's animated.
Yeah.
To a degree. So I think that'll be the big tell, and it could potentially end up going back to Fridays, but we'll see. I'm good either way, and we'll try and keep up with with all the date changes on the podcast. So on to some DC news then. The Flash news, as we always have. We need a Flash segment on the podcast because it's always Flash news every week. So last week, Andy Muschietti shared a look at Michael Keaton's Batman logo on the '89 Batman suit, and now he's done the same with the Flash logo, which we were having a look at earlier on. It's very different to what we've seen in the Justice League, because obviously the Justice League was all like metal plating. This looks a lot more fabric-y. Is that a word?
It looks more Tony Stark-y.
It does.
I think it does. I mean, I said to you before, it look. I don't know, you're going to laugh at it, but it looks like the Spider-Man suit and the Shazam suit had a baby.
It does a little bit. That's not how you said it before. I can't.
No, I said it was a baby suit.
Suit baby.
Suit baby. That was it.
It's the suit baby.
It's the suit baby of Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. It's different to what we've had so far, but I suppose it's more.
It's cool and more intricate. Which, if they're focusing a little bit more on detail and stuff, I'm quite liking that, because hopefully that means that the story will be good. We can only hope.
That's a very tedious link, that one. It's got a good suit, so it must be a good story.
I mean, like they're taking more time into getting things right.
Yeah, potentially.
That's what I mean. Sorry, I feel like that there's a harder focus on getting it right.
Yeah.
In general,
they need to at this point, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So hopefully, I'm hoping that if they're going into that much detail with the suit, then they're going to be going into more detail with getting every other part of the film right as well.
Yeah. Well, it'll be good. It's going to be interesting to see it like in live action in the trailer. It looks to me like it's like all circuitry, and it's also like going into the suit. But we'll see. There's another rumor as well from the Illuminati when it comes to the Flash, that Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash in the series, is going to be making a cameo in the movie as well.
Oh,
because Ezra Miller had a cameo in the Flash.
Oh, did he?
As the Flash. Did you not know this?
No.
He's in it. I think there's like I don't watch the Flash, but I've seen the clip. I think there's one of the episodes at the end of the series were kind of like a multiverse episode of like the whole like Arrow and the Flash and when they all came together.
I did hear about that.
And he was like traveling through like different dimensions, and all of a sudden he just bumps into Ezra Miller, and they're just both like looking at each other like, what the hell is going on here, sort of thing.
Love it.
So yeah, it would be quite interesting if he ends up there. Again, I would imagine it'd probably just be a very, very brief cameo, but yeah, it'd be good to see. Blue Beetle news. So we talked a couple of weeks ago how Warner Brothers are developing a Blue Beetle movie, and it's still on. Don't get me wrong, it's not cancelled or anything like that. But the Los Angeles Times are reporting that the movie is going to skip cinemas and go straight to HBO Max.
That's never a good sign.
Well, apparently what they're trying to do is they're trying to still make movies about like mid-level superheroes. That's the words that the Los Angeles Times use.
Yeah.
But rather than sort of putting them in the cinema, they're going to put them straight to HBO Max. So there's a rumor that the Batgirl movie will be doing the same. So
it's like, but
cinemas.
it's like back in the 90s when it was like straight to VHS.
It is, isn't it? It is. It's like we've not got as much faith in it, so we're not gonna put all the money in the marketing behind it. Yeah. But I don't know. A lot of people seem to be not happy about that because I think a lot of people are looking at the fact that it's going to be quite a diverse movie. Yeah. And it's probably the first big diverse movie that DC have done. Yeah. And they're whacking it straight on HBO Max. I think people are a bit upset.
Well, it's understandable, isn't it?
I don't get why. I mean, if it's gonna cost you're gonna have to put loads of marketing into it anyway. If it's on HBO Max, why not just release it simultaneously?
Well, yeah.
And just give it a couple of weeks at the cinema and see what happens. And if it dies a death, then just pull it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But you might.
To be fair, by the sounds of it, they're only putting stuff out for 45 days in the cinema now, rather than the normal run. Yeah. So it's what, 6 weeks?
Yeah. Just do it simultaneously. Yeah. Make it simultaneous. I know they've said that they don't want to do, they're going off the simultaneous and they're going to have the cinema and then the 45 days. Yeah. But why make it? Just make it simultaneous. Don't just put it on HBO Max. Put them on both. But anyway, I've got a feeling that'll change. a bit. Star Wars news. We haven't had Star Wars news for a little while, have we?
No.
So the Direct are reporting that Forrest Whitaker and Ben Mendelsohn, both brilliant, are going to be reprising their roles from Rogue One as Saw and Orson Krennic in Andor, which is filming.
Oh, okay.
That'll be good. They both were brilliant. Ben Mendelsohn is amazing. Yeah. Literally everything he's in, he's just like such a character, like Talos, and he's in Ready Player One as well. Yeah, and he was great in Rogue One as well. So it'll be good to see them back. The Toxic Avenger, which Anthony hadn't heard of until I mentioned it to him earlier on. Yeah, so the Toxic Avenger, it was like I think the company's called Troma, and they did like really like proper B movies.
Oh, okay.
C movies. C movies. And it was basically about some kid who ends up falling in a vat of toxic waste and comes out as like like looking like a monster, but becomes a superhero off the back of it. Oh, okay. So they're remaking that. So it was announced last year. Peter Dinklage is going to be the Toxic Avenger. Love it. Swampy, I think he's called in the cartoon. And it's just been announced that Kevin Bacon is joining the cast as the main villain.
Amazing.
Which is brilliant.
But the only thing, Peter Dinklage. Yeah. But he was also in Endgame, wasn't he?
He was. So?
Is it? Are we not?
What, just because it's Avenger?
Yeah.
It's not the MCU.
Oh.
Did you think it was the MCU?
Yeah.
No, it's not the MCU.
Was it being called an Avenger? Sorry, I just thought it was like a thing.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
No, it's like a proper 1980s B movie.
I feel like a tit now. Well, then.
Should we edit this bit out?
No. I know you won't.
No, we won't. Moving on. Last bit of
Mighty
news.
Ducks all over again.
Oh, listeners, Anthony looked devastated when he said that. He's still red.
Oh, friggin' hell.
Anyway, Assassin's Creed. So we already know that Assassin's Creed series is coming to Netflix, which is good because the movie was a bit crap.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, but it was just average.
Yeah.
Very average. So we know the series is coming, and Variety is reporting that they found its writer in a guy called Jeb Stewart. So he's recently wrote a spin-off of the Viking series for the History Channel, but he's previously wrote Die Hard and The Fugitive.
Oh,
so
okay.
Decent, big films, big popular films. So quite interesting to see what like a big name can do with something like that. Because I don't think, not sort of taken away from any of the writers of the Netflix shows, but they're all quite like young, for want of a better word. Do you know what I mean? And like very recent, and a lot of them getting like the first goes. So it's going to be quite interesting to see.
Again,
what, like,
it's nice to have that bit of diversity in it.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Assassin's Creed games. I don't think I've played the last couple because there's like one every 6 weeks.
I really enjoyed Odyssey.
I didn't play Odyssey.
I liked Odyssey. It was different because you could start going from island to island and stuff like that. So you get the use of ships and things, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
So it was just like to stop it being kind of same because it had been for quite some time by that point. And this was kind of a big change up in it, and it was a bit more of an open worldy type.
I might give it a go, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the series. I wonder whether they'll just start from the beginning again with like, who was the first one? It wasn't Ezio? Ezio Auditore was the second.
I can't remember.
I think they in the movie these went right back to the first game, didn't they? So
I think so. Yeah.
But there's been so many and like so many different time periods.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have them jump in between different ones. That'll be quite interesting. So that's it for the news this week. Should we get on to Loki? I am so looking forward to talking about Loki. I've got so much written down.
And me.
It's got to be that good. So Loki, episode 2, the variant. As we said, there are spoilers. We've already had spoilers, but there are spoilers from now. So if you've not watched the episode yet, pause the podcast, go and watch it.
Come back.
So we start in Wisconsin, 1985, and is it a Renaissance fair sort of thing? I thought we'd gone back
I thought we'd gone to medieval times, and then I saw the year and I went,
what's going on?
what's happening here?
And it was like medieval times, the actual, because in the States it's like I don't know if it's still there. It used to be there. It was there years ago. It's like it's like a place called Medieval Times, and it's like a restaurant, and you go and watch like people all dressed up and jousting and stuff.
They do it in general anyway, because it was in Role Models as well.
It was, and the cable
so I think it's like actually a thing that they go and have like a Renaissance fair type thing.
Yeah. Oh, I know what you mean in Role Models. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
When they did all the big fighting. Yeah, so it's
that
like sort of, we've digressed. Yeah, that's brilliant. We've digressed already, but
sorry.
Yeah, so it's there. So a group of Minutemen show up looking for the variant, and the tracking it is his. Let's call it.
I love that she's like, you're in the wrong outfits.
We need this, she says. We need this to sort of get by and keep our sanity. So they're tracking the variant anyway. So they end up going into this tent, and it looks like it kind of is a trap, isn't it? And that's when it becomes like proper like medieval times. It's like a theatre tent, and it's all set up for a performance, and like the loudspeaker comes on, and then that's when Holding Out for a Hero comes on. And if I hadn't already heard it in 2 trailers, as I said, I'd have been like, oh, this is amazing. But it was a bit like, not again.
Also, I couldn't stop thinking about Star Wars because of it's a trap. It was just because it was the first thing she said, and I was like,
yeah. So this hand, I had to rewind it a couple of times because when I watched it, I thought it was the leader of the Minutemen who like touched the side of her face and put something on herself.
No.
And I realised it was the hand coming out and sort of like touching her on the head. So I think that leader of the Minutemen is, because we see her later on in the episode, C12, I think her name is. So we're going to call her C12 for the rest of... Because they've all got a letter and a number, haven't they?
Yeah, I thought it was like C20. I don't know.
C20.
Could be wrong.
Let's call it C20.
Okay.
We're going to call it C20 in that case. C20 is going to call her. So the variant touches her on the head and it like possesses her, and it looks really similar to like how Wanda was doing it with Hulk and everybody in Age of Ultron. And then that's obviously when I Need a Hero starts playing. So the possessed C20 basically takes out a load of the Minutemen. Yeah. And then I think she passes out. And then that's when the variant sort of steps in and like takes out the last one. But like proper kills.
Well, we find out later it's not just them passing out, it's a power in it.
Yeah. Oh, to sort of like turn it off.
I see it as she's actually entered them.
No, I don't. No, I don't think she has. No, because she's still later on in the episode, like at the end. This is what we do: we skip around. But later on in the episode, at the end, she is still doing. It's like Loki says, "Come and fight me." Yeah, come and fight me yourself. Yeah, and the trucker guy's beating him up, and the trucker guy says, "I've got shit to do." Yeah, and it's like so she's not entered them. She's like, it's like she's still doing stuff herself, and she's managed to possess them and still got control over them at the same time. So she's not gone into them.
Oh, I thought she
because
was
because in the tent she was fighting the variant, Lady Loki, because you've watched the episode. Yeah. Lady Loki was fighting, and the Minuteman and C20 was fighting, so they were both fighting at the same time.
Okay.
So it's like it's some sort of possession, but she's still got control of her own body.
Like an astral projection, but inside the consciousness of the others.
That sounds very complicated, but yes. Let's go with that.
Okay.
That's why you're on the podcast, Anthony. So she kills the last Minuteman anyway. She takes the reset charge and C20, or whatever her name is, and then she takes the time door control, and jumps through a time door. Is there a better name for them? Time doors? That's what I keep calling them, time doors?
I don't know.
Well, that's what we're calling them, time doors. And then that's when we get
Quantum Leap doors.
Quantum Leap doors. And then that's when we get the title card, and we move to We go to Loki, sat at Mobius's desk, reading a jet ski magazine. Just so random. I mean, where did that come from? So we've got a jet ski magazine, and he should be listening to Miss Minutes, but he's not. He's reading jet ski magazine, basically. Miss Minutes being out of the screen was brilliant.
Yeah. I love that, to be fair.
Hologram, but we don't kind of know what she is. He even says, doesn't he? Like, what are you? Are you a message, or are you aware of yourself? Or and she says kind of both, like a bit of both. And then he obviously starts trying to attack her. But it kind of uses that to give us... There's a couple of moments in this where it's like we're training Loki sort of idea is there to give us info, like the training, the intro video was. So we find out through her like testing Loki that if a Nexus event, so if basically one of the branches off the sacred timeline goes past the red line on their little things, then the TVA can't reset it. And Miss Minute says it'd destroy the sacred timeline and basically send the whole world into chaos. Would it though?
Into madness.
Into madness. Is that what she says?
I don't know.
Oh.
But I was just saying that because I was getting excited because of Doctor Strange. Madness. Sorry.
Already though, she's I'm not sure I believe her. Because she's saying like it'll completely wreck the universe and stuff like that. But we know even from the training video that before
that it had happened already and they fixed it.
There was a multiverse. Yeah. And there was a multiverse probably for billions of years, and they basically brought it back down to the sacred timeline. So why would it sort of destroy everything?
The timekeepers are just old now and can't keep up.
Maybe it's lies.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it's all a lie. So anyway, Mobius comes along and he takes him away and gives him his variant jacket, which he doesn't seem particularly happy about, that he's got a big orange variant written on the back. And B-15, so she basically sets out what the mission is that he's going on this time. So they're going to go to Wisconsin because the team of Minutemen have been attacked. They know it's the variant because of the energy signature, but this is where she says, we don't know what kind of Loki it is, so we know it's a variant, but we don't know what kind it is.
Yeah.
And straight away it makes you start thinking, why are the different types? And then Mobius sort of explains that the TVA has pruned, because they use the word pruned a lot in this episode, don't they? Which is basically the Barocca stick.
Is that what they called it? I prefer Barocca stick.
I prefer, yeah. But I don't know whether the stick's called the pruner. But I get it because it's branches and the pruning the leaves off.
Yeah, yeah.
You get it, yeah. That took me ages to figure that out until it was like third
pruning humanity.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Mobius says that the TVA has pruned loads of these guys, almost more than any other variant. And then we see all the different types of, all the different kinds
of
Loki.
Which made me laugh,
by the way. Brilliant. So there was one that looked very, very similar to Loki.
Yeah.
And then there was one of Loki winning the Tour de France in his yellow t-shirt. There was one that looked like this massive monster.
It was like an orc.
It was like Hulk.
Yeah.
Hulk orc type thing, wasn't it? Yeah. There was one that looked like...
And his horns looked real rather than being...
Yeah. There was one who looked like... It looked like a dude in sunglasses that looked like Trevor. As soon as I saw it, I was like, it's Trevor. Trevor Slattery. Just them going, Loki Lavison. And then there was one that looked like a Viking type thing, which and it looked a lot more heroic, didn't he? Kind of looked like Thor, and he had the axe as well.
Yeah.
I should have paused to see if it looked anything like Stormbreaker. But so the couple of questions I had off this are, firstly, who has had more variants than Loki? Because he doesn't say he's had more variants than anyone. It surprised me straight away that there's been this many. Because for what we know, that there shouldn't be that many. But who could possibly have had more variants than Loki? It can't just be a throwaway comment. If he's had that many different variants that they've had to go, that have knocked themselves out of the timeline, that they've had to go and fix.
Well, the only thing I can think is that with there being the whole you can't use magic in the TVA.
Yeah.
Is it Wanda?
Could be.
Because she learns how to move.
Yeah.
So if she does and she's getting chased by the TVA, are there different?
Or it could be America Chavez.
Maybe.
Or Strange. I feel like that's.
I don't think it would be Strange.
Do you think Strange knows there's a TVA?
Yeah.
Do you?
I do.
I'm not convinced.
Aren't you?
No, I don't think any of them know. Although, because the Ancient One did talk about the branch timelines, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
She knows. And she kind of passed it all on to him, didn't she?
We've got to find out for certain soon, haven't we? So that'll be interesting to see who potentially has had more. The other thing is, and I think Paul Sears on Twitter, who we'll get to Podfans Assemble later, and I was thinking the same thing. If there's no multiverse up until this point, why are there all such different versions of Loki? If there isn't a multiverse, because then, do
you
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if there was only one sacred timeline, how could they have? If then Loki has only existed ever. If there's only one timeline now, Loki's only existed from that frost giant up until his death at the end of Endgame.
I thought what they meant by that is there's one sacred timeline per universe.
No, because that's what the multiverse would be. The multiverse would be that there are different places, and we're getting told here that there isn't. We're getting told that there's one sacred timeline now, and that's it.
So I thought it meant that there's one. So say there's 5 universes. Let's just narrow it down a little bit.
There's one sacred timeline.
I thought there was just one straight line for each one, and I thought this branching off meant that they could then cross over. Hence the multiverse.
No. So
the only thing I can think is the timekeepers don't exist or aren't real.
I think we're getting to it. I'm not
or
sure
is something else entirely.
I just don't see how it could be. If there's one.
I think it's going to be like a fear conspiracy type thing, and then they're going to find out that everything that they've all worked towards is a lie.
Bollocks. Yeah, because they push quite a lot on that in the episode, don't they? Like what you believe in and stuff. So again, I think the fact that we're getting so much so early on does like lead you to think there's going to be some big, massive twists later on in the episode. So another thing that happens there as well, which I think there's more to, is Loki explains to Mobius the difference between illusion projection and duplication casting.
Yeah.
And he's a bit arsey about it, and he's like, oh, you already knew that.
He gets a bit offended. Like,
he doesn't he? Yeah. So he's basically saying that illusion projection is basically just you kind of like creating a hologram out of nothing. And duplication casting is you making like we've seen Loki do, making like a copy of yourself that then continues your journey, and you sort of like jump off, like he does at the end of Ragnarok. When he goes to sort of set the alarms and stuff like that. And I again don't think that's just a throwaway comment. I feel like they've told us about that and made a big point of the fact that that's what Loki can do.
Because that's going to be something that's used.
Because it's going to come up, and I think it happens in this episode.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it happens in the episode.
Do you reckon he might try and make himself look like the 3 timekeepers?
No, I think it's another Loki. I think, and again we're skipping around, I think that when we see Loki jump through the door at the very end of the episode, I don't think Loki jumps through the door. I think Loki's is off somewhere potentially, and then that's one of his duplicates jumping through the door, so that they think he's got away, but he hasn't.
I'm with
and
you.
He's sort of like there hiding, sort of thing.
Yeah,
but maybe I'm wrong. So they then go and do they do prep for the mission again. Loki asks for a weapon, and Mobius basically says no. But he mentions that if he does things right, and he's good basically, then he might potentially get an audience with the timekeepers, and he's sort of like doing it to try and keep him
intrigued.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they go to 1985. Loki asks why they don't just travel back to before the attack happened, which is a really good point. Mobius, again, it's sort of like covering plot holes, isn't he? Says that once that happens, once the timeline branches off, it becomes destabilized, so you have to sort of visit in real time.
Yeah.
And we also get a reminder again at that point, again, more like little bits of info that as to what the reset charges do. So they basically prune anything within the certain vicinity that shouldn't be there, basically to reset the timeline. And then they end up going into this tent, and Loki tries to like stall them and trick them. So he says like it's a trap and the variant's waiting outside.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where this was going at first, but he says he wants an assurance that if he helps find the variant, they're not just going to reset him or kill him because he's done his job. And he also says that she's going after, not she obviously because he doesn't know, but the variant at that stage is going after the timekeepers, so he needs a meeting with the timekeepers now.
Yeah.
And instantly Mobius is like, you're talking out your arse. He's lying. Yeah. Then he just turns around and he goes, lying. He's trying it on and all that sort of stuff. So they basically just end up resetting the timeline and going back to the TVA. And then this is probably one of the bits of the episode now that sort of had like some of the biggest questions for me, because it's when Mobius goes to Ravonna's office.
Yeah.
And starts, I mean, straight away, he's like, oh, this office is looking brilliant, and it's always different every time I get there. Better every time I get there. And he's questioning like where all the new stuff's come from, like where's that snow globe come from? And I think he says like, there's a case, I didn't bring you that case, or something like that. And she basically says that you're not my only analyst, so other people bring me things. Do you think other people do bring her things, or do you think there's a lot more going on with Ravonna that we think?
I think there might be a lot more with Ravonna than we think.
Do you? What do you reckon she's about?
I think that she is the cover for the timekeepers. I think if they don't exist, she's the top person before them.
Yeah.
So I think...
So she's blagging the fact that there are timekeepers because she's trying to run the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that potentially happening.
Yeah, I think that's where my brain goes automatically.
It was when it's like, because even Mobius says I've never met. He's asked like how the timekeepers do and all that sort of things.
Yeah.
And he says like I've never even met them.
Well, it's just very over the top for because the first thing I saw was the 3 statues of them in her office.
Yeah.
And I just thought
3 space lizards.
Very, very Billy Big Bollocks in it for
Billy Big Bollocks. It is.
No, but it is like it's kind of almost threatening in a way.
Yeah.
With them them being so big and standing over you as you stood in this office.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like a reinforcement, and I think it's because it's something to do with her. I don't think she's all she seems.
No, I think the whole scene was just like you had to. I mean, I went back and watched it twice because it's like there's so much going on.
Well, I realised she also grabbed something off the shelf later on, didn't she?
Yeah, one of them. I think she grabbed.
Was it a pruner?
I think it was a
Broca stick.
A Broca stick. I think so. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
But it's like little things like they made a real point about the rings on the table and the coaster. It's like they follow it when she says like you're making all the rings on the table, and he was like, oh, they were there when I got here, and she gives him a coaster, and the camera literally follows the drink and the coaster going down to the table.
Yeah.
And I can't think of what that would be about, but me being cynical is like, why the hell are we focusing on the coaster going down on the table? Like little things like that. And then the pen, he signs something. So because doesn't she? Oh, he basically says that she says you've got one more chance with Loki, and then we're going to reset him. And she gets him to sign a mission report, and the pen says Franklin D. Roosevelt High School on it. And he says like, where did you get this pen? And again, she says like, oh, the one of my other analysts gave it to me. But like, why would she have a pen from Franklin D. Roosevelt High School?
No idea.
And it's weird.
Is it of any importance, that school? Have I missed something?
Not in the mark. Not from what I did a bit of research. Now, I mean, Franklin D. Roosevelt was obviously president of the United States. Yeah. And in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I believe, Coulson mentions that FDR established S.H.I.E.L.D., or he was one of the founding people of S.H.I.E.L.D., or got it to be made, basically.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether that's... we don't even know whether that's canon, because obviously Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't canon, so is that canon? But I just feel like there was a lot going on in that whole that very short conversation. There were loads of clues there, and I reckon we've probably not even noticed half of them. I was also wondering, like, what is the relationship between Ravonna and Mobius? Because there's something going on.
Yeah.
She's not just the boss. It's like the way that they talk to each other.
Very flirtatious, isn't it?
Like as if they've been together and now
they're not.
And now they're not.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are.
Maybe.
That'd be a twist, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Mobius going home one night and she's just there. Like
just chilling.
Sitting watching the telly sort of thing. It'd be weird.
And he's still moaning about a snow globe.
Yeah, where'd you get that snow globe? Who gave you that snow globe? Yeah. So they go out of the office and Loki's trying to basically explain himself and cover his arse, basically. But Mobius basically knows that the plan all along was for him to get in front of the timekeepers and overthrow them, which is what Loki was planning. Yeah. But then he kind of planted that seed in his head by saying at the start of the mission, if you're good, you can, you might get an audience with the timekeepers. And is that because he was trying to put that in his head as a potential option, or did he already know Loki was thinking of it? I don't know, but either way, he's like properly manipulating him. Yeah. And he calls him that. I think at that stage he calls him like a scared little boy, which we come back to later on in the episode. So then he puts Loki to work. Basically, he says, "I want you to go and research all of the variant case files to look for clues as to where the variant's going to be." Loki tries to access any other files that he can do, and that librarian is having none of it at all.
So
that was
funny.
so weird. The whole scene, like hello, excuse me, and she's not doing anything. He just like rings the tiny little broken bell. It was weird. So she basically only will give him access to his case files.
Yeah.
Loki case files. And then that's when he ends up looking at the Ragnarok case file, which is the destruction of Asgard.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we're only on the sacred timeline, so this is the file pertaining to what we saw in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So the biggest surprise for me was the fact that 9,799 Guardians died.
Yeah.
It didn't really sell that. Did you get that impression? I got the impression at the end of Ragnarok, all the Asgardians got on that ship.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Didn't you?
No.
Oh, I did.
No, I knew that it was like...
A few?
Only a few.
Oh, no, I see. I read it. I saw it as all the Asgardians have escaped.
No, I saw it as like maybe 10% of them.
I'm clearly very naive. I was like, oh, happy ending. They've all got off. They've all got on it sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
See, that makes it really dark that like Thor was like, just blow up the planet. Can't kill her. Blow up the planet. Let Surtur blow up the planet.
Well, I think the idea was that they'd all...
Asgardians.
Well, no, I thought the idea was that they'd already died. Look, I mean, how many people were in the thing when Hela just like let rip and killed all the army?
Yeah, I suppose.
Like,
yeah,
that was easily 1,000.
Yeah, potentially.
So
I don't know. I just assumed that like I read it as in Ragnarok, clearly wrongly, but I read it in Ragnarok that all the Asgardians, like all the Asgardian army had been killed.
Yeah,
and it was now just.
No, I feel like
people.
It was just the ones that had got away with Heimdall.
Oh, okay. That's dark.
I know.
It's a dark ending to Ragnarok, isn't it? It makes me view that very differently.
Yeah.
And that sounds really deep, but it does. Because I thought it was like
but then
happy ending.
Loki's response to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, but when he was reading it, he looked quite sad. And he looked like he might be welling up a little bit because he's reading about the destruction of Asgard. But when he tells Mobius, he's like, oh, I'm really sorry about that. And he's like, yeah, very sad. Anyway. And it's just like, Moving on. Not asked at all. But he also notices when he's looking through the...
He also didn't seem shocked he had a sister. Can we just put that out there? Because the idea is that he didn't know he had a sister.
Yeah, but he's already watched the whole thing.
Did he, though?
I assume so.
Oh, okay.
And we just saw, like, the bits. Like, the highlights.
I didn't think he watched it.
Show.
I didn't think he watched it all, because why would Mobius apologise to him now about that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if he'd already watched it. That was the only thing. So...
But he knew Hulk was there and everything, didn't he?
Yeah, push Hulk off the Rainbow Bridge.
Push Hulk off the Rainbow Bridge. Push him off the Rainbow Bridge. It won't matter. That whole scene with him explaining,
right?
With the
and I'm really sorry.
It was amazing.
I could not stop laughing at him sitting there just shaking the salt.
I'm just constantly pouring in. Hulk. What was the other thing? Hulk. Set fire to the palace. Hulk palace, pouring it all in. The whole thing with the salad was absolutely amazing. Like Mobius' reaction, like, I really want that salad.
Also, that was our only point of seeing Thingy again. Casey.
Yeah, Casey.
And he's like, oh, what?
And he goes, nice to see you. And just takes his drink, like his milk or something, or his juice.
I'd have loved it if he'd just turned around to him and gone, dude, what's a fish?
Still don't know what a fish is.
Just haven't been given the answer. What's a fish?
Still can't figure it out. So anyway, he basically explains that he reckons that the variant is hiding in apocalypses because it doesn't matter what you do in the apocalypse, the timeline for that sort of location is all going to end, and everyone on that timeline there is going to end anyway when the apocalypse happens.
So nothing you will do will change that.
Yeah, so basically if the variant was to go and hide in one of these apocalypse situations and keep going back to just before the apocalypse happened, doesn't matter what he or she did, the TVA would basically never know. And he basically wants to go and test it, and I think he asks to go to Ragnarok, doesn't he? He asks to go to Asgard at first.
And he's like, nah.
And Mobius hasn't having any of it. And
just
he says,
so you can run away.
He says, so you can get me there and you can stab me in the back. And he's like, I'd never stab anybody in the back. It's boring.
You've literally done it 50 times.
I'd never do it again.
It's old hat now.
It's boring. Do you know what though? Just like
it's
this,
so good.
I mean, Tom Hiddleston's been brilliant all the way through this. Like, I say all the way through. We're only like 2 episodes in.
Yeah.
But he's been brilliant for what we've seen. But I just felt like this like little scene, just like his reactions, like even the Casey when he goes, nice to see you. And it's just like, it was just so like real. Do you get what I mean? It's not like Shakespearean Tom Hiddleston putting on like a big posh Loki. It was just like, Tom Hiddleston sat there in a conversation. He's really good all the way through.
And I mean, to be fair, following straight from this, I love the Pompeii scene.
Pompeii is amazing.
It made me laugh so much.
Know, yeah. He was drunk.
Yeah.
All the way through, wasn't it? Or he's just completely reveling in like death.
Yeah.
Which shows that he is still. I mean, we thought off the back of episode 1 he'd like completely turned now, and that was his transition.
Yeah.
But he's still trying to like see all the opportunities and sort of get one over.
Just
and
the way he'd let the goats go free, and he's like, go.
It's brilliant. So they go to Pompeii, 79 AD, basically just before the volcano goes off, and to test the theory, basically. So Mobius wants to start small, and he's like, do you know any bird noises? Like, cuckoo, cuckoo, or like a rush of wind. It's like, what the hell is that going to do? And he's like, and Loki's basically just like, no, we'll just do this. So he just goes crazy. So
I loved
the ghosts.
Owen Wilson whisper shouting as well. Loki!
Loki! I know. I like the whole conversation where he's like, don't stop being so happy about this place all dying. He's like, but it's all that's going to happen. It's something we can do. He's like, yeah, but it's just not the way you should do it. Shouldn't talk like that. So anyway, so Loki goes crazy. He starts speaking in Spanish? Italian, isn't it? Yeah. Why did I think Spanish? It's been a long day, listeners. It's been one of them. I've watched Loki 3 times.
I had such confusion on my face there.
It was almost as much as the Avenger and the Toxic Avenger. Not quite, but it was almost that. So he starts speaking in Italian, not Spanish. I mean, he might have, but no one would have understood him. So he starts speaking in Italian just dead easily. He tells them that they're all going to die. And you might, dance while you can, eat what you want, all that sort of thing.
And then his little dance.
And he just looks like he's just completely reveling in the fact that all these people are going to die and there's nothing they can do about it. And he's probably going to be okay. And he's just buzzing off that. And he starts like saying like, I know because I'm from the future. And he starts to head to Mobius, doesn't he? It's like, we're from the future. The TVA is in the future. Sounds futury. Futury. And again, going from that and the conversation that he'd had about like with like the whole thing with like the salad and Casey and nice to see and all that sort of stuff, it did make me think they're kind of taking him down the Thor route. It's like he's always been like the trickster, but he's always been a very serious character all the way through. He's had a couple of comedy moments, but he's generally been like fairly serious. Yeah. And they're now doing what they did with Thor, but they're doing it really well again. It's like they're making him a bit of a goof and like the comic element of the show, but he's still like hard as nails.
Well, before he wanted to be seriously because he wanted everyone to kneel before him and all of that kind of stuff, whereas now
I still think he does.
I think it's part of the realization that nothing really matters.
No.
Like, at all.
Yeah.
Everything is predetermined. He's gone and seen the Infinity Stones being used as paperweights. Like, everything that he's believed in when you look in terms of power has basically been bullshit.
Yeah.
So he's gone, well what's left then?
What's the point?
There's no point in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that has kind of turned for him.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, the plan works. No branch timelines created. The whole time that he's there, basically fucking shit up. Mobius is watching it, and there's nothing going on with it. And obviously, so the plans worked. So they then decide that now they need to find out which apocalypse the variant is hiding in, because it sounds like she is hiding in one. She, whatever. So we see them going through some files to try and find the apocalypse before they take a break. And then we get quite a lot of Mobius character development at this stage. Yeah. I think. So Loki starts questioning like why he's got a jet ski magazine on his desk from like the 1990s. And basically he just thinks they're cool. It's like out of all the things and all the time and all the different
he just seems to really love the early 90s, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Considering that it's all sort of like set in the 60s type vibe.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird, but it's what he enjoys. And he just thinks that they're good. He's never been on one, and he's probably never gonna get to go on one.
I think that he might
get to go on a jet ski.
At some point
I think he probably will.
I think the whole idea that he's even mentioned it is that's going to happen at some point.
Loki's going to buy him a jet ski.
Yeah.
When he somehow leaves the TVA.
Yeah.
But if he stays on the same path, he's never going to get to go on one.
No.
And it's because he's so committed to this job of being an analyst for the TVA, but to the point where like you kind of feel sorry for him because it's like this is his life, and he's got complete blind faith in these timekeepers who we've already said were this early on in the season. It's like, do they even exist?
Yeah.
But he's just not even questioning it at all. I mean, Loki even says the three magic lizards who are apparently just deciding all our fates, and that's when Loki says it's like there's no such from what you're telling me, Mobius, there's no such thing as free will. These guys decide, everybody on the sacred timeline, like basically every action and what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So technically, Mobius and the TVA and now Loki are the only ones who are really free to sort of not be fully controlled, which in a sense is correct. But then you look at Mobius and he's not free at all. He's still fully being controlled to a degree. Maybe not like every action he takes, but he's not got any life. Nobody at the TVA has. Their whole sort of meaning of life is just to basically do what the space lizards want them to do and make sure everybody else does it as well, really. They're just like monitors, aren't they, really? But also, I thought it was quite interesting is that Mobius says that the timekeepers decide, or he doesn't say it in this many words, but he basically puts it across that the timekeepers decide which of the multiple timelines are going to be the sacred timeline. So like of all the different potential futures. So it's like they know what all these timelines, what this multiverse is going to be.
Yeah.
Now either because they know where it's potentially going to go or because they've seen the multiverse before, but they basically then break that down and pick which bits they want for the sacred timeline. And
what if the timekeepers turn out to be Doctor Strange?
Do you reckon? Well, I think I don't.
Well, there's the whole thing with them looking after the time stone and with Tilda Swinton and all of that kind of stuff.
The time stone we know is a paperweight.
No, I know, but is that a facade?
I just don't think Doctor Strange is sitting there deciding all the different.
But then I go back to questioning: how did he see the 14 million versions of the outcomes?
I agree with that, but I don't think he's running the show. I'm not even convinced he knows about the TVA.
I don't think he's running the show, and that's where I get confused because I don't think he knows about the TVA. But what if it's people of that caliber? If that makes sense.
I think he's a lot more powerful.
Do you reckon?
I think so. Oh, potentially. I mean, you don't know.
I'm still convinced it's a lie and it's going to be something not necessarily good.
I've got a feeling that there's not going to be anything like the timekeepers aren't going to be there, and it's going to be basically somebody potentially like Ravonna just deciding what's happening basically, or maybe not her but somebody else. Yeah. And they've just sort of, rather than, because the whole thing from this conversation is construed that these timekeepers are basically God. They've created everything. So the gods like Odin and the frost giants and Thor and all that sort of stuff, people see them as being gods, but really the timekeepers are God because they're deciding what everybody does and they're creating the whole thing from the start of existence to the end of existence. Yeah. And I reckon that we're probably going to find out that that's not the case, and all it is somebody from a timeline has decided they want to decide their own they want to decide their future and everybody else's, and they've got this technology together to be able to control the timeline and maybe mesh it into one.
What if what's her name? Ravonna is like an outcasted Eternal.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
What if she's like an outcast, and that's
part
of the reason with the Eternals come in?
They're coming back because they found
out she's doing something to the timelines.
I like that. Well done, Anthony. Not going to be right.
No, it's not going to be right.
But I like it.
I'm just trying to think outside the box.
No, I like it.
You know what I mean?
You need to with stuff like this. But I think after WandaVision, not too far outside the box.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Rein it back in.
Rein it in a little bit. So anyway, so Loki goes on to say that no one bad is ever truly bad. No one good is ever truly good. And then that's when Mobius at some point there gets reminded about calling Loki a scared little boy, and it's when he remembers the little boy from the church in like 1540 something. So he goes to the evidence lockers, and he gets that kablooey gun that the little kid gave him, and then they find out that was only available on Earth from 2047 to 2051,
something like
I think
that.
He says. So they basically can hone in on what apocalypses have happened during that 4 year. Yeah. 4? It's quick maths, but it's 4 years, I think. Yeah. 4 year period. Well done, Nick. A-level maths. A-level maths working. And then Loki finds which apocalypse it is. So it's Haven Hills in Alabama in 2050. And basically a hurricane.
Pre-hurricane, yeah.
Yeah, has basically wiped everybody out. So Mobius then goes to Ravonna again, and that's when we see, I think that's the second time we only see her in the episode. Yeah. And he's basically asking for permission to go and to go to Haven Hills and try and find the variant. She does agree, but very reluctantly. And she says, there's not much I can do if it doesn't work out. And I wonder, like, what does that mean? Is she threatening him with, like, being reset? Or is she
threatening him with the Broca stick? Don't know.
The Broca stick? Or is this hair, like, from what we said, I didn't even think about it when I was watching it, but if the timekeepers aren't real, is it sort of like hair saying, well, I might not be able to protect you from these big monsters that are standing in my office.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go right and it's just like empty threats.
Maybe.
To try and sort of control him. And then we go to there's a little bit of them prepping for the mission, should we call it? And Mobius gives him the knives.
Yeah.
Gives him the knives and instantly B-15 just takes them away. He's like, I don't think so. No way you having these.
That made me laugh so much.
So then they go to Haven Hills. Loki dries himself with magic straight away. And the B-15 is like, what the hell did you just do? How did you do that? And I think it's just so simple, but it's just establishes straight away he's got magic back. So because he's not in the TVA, he's got all his powers and abilities back, which we get later on. B-15 won't let Mobius and Loki go together because she doesn't trust. I don't think she trusts either of them, to be perfectly honest.
I think she knows that Mobius, to a degree, his head is a bit in the clouds.
Yeah.
And I think that he can be persuaded by Loki.
Yeah. I'm not sure he can, though.
I think he knows. Because Mobius keeps giving him the benefit of the doubt, and I think that's kind of like a slippery slope.
Yeah, potentially.
I don't know.
I still don't know that we can trust Loki.
I don't know.
I'll be dead honest, I don't know. But anyway, Loki agrees, and he says he wants to gain everyone's trust, so he'll go with B-15 instead. So so as they sort of go off and they go in the separate ways, then we see the security monitors in the shop, and we see that the variant is there, and she is watching everything they're doing. She's got them on all the security monitors, and then she sets that little time door control to 20 minutes.
I think so,
so we know something's coming. So we see Loki and B-15, they're sort of like doing the rounds. He's trying to like talk to her and sort of break the ice, but she's having none of it whatsoever. And then they come across this dude in the shop. No, Randy's later. They come across the dude who says he's shopping. He's just shopping for plants in the middle of a hurricane. He's like, it's a hurricane sale. But we find out very quickly that he's possessed by the variant. He touches B-15 and then it sort of passes on to her. And then that's when Loki's like, oh, me, it's me. And she's like, no, you're me. You're me. It's like, I'm the big one. Which, again, because we'll get into it a little bit later on, but that is, to me, the variant saying, I am Loki because you're me.
Yeah.
Or I'm you, however you want to look at it. But then she kind of goes off that she's not Loki later on in the episode. Towards the end. So we go to Mobius anyway.
What do you mean when she says she doesn't like that name?
Yeah. It's not Loki. Don't think it's Loki.
Don't you?
No. We'll get there. We'll do it in Podfans Assemble.
Okay.
As the theories, because I think there's a few theories in Podfans Assemble, to be fair, but I've done a little bit of digging as well. But again, it's always different from the comics. So we go to Mobius anyway. He's being quite respectful to all these people in the shelter. Even knowing that they're all basically going to die and there's nothing they can do to stop it.
Yeah.
But the other Minutemen are being like a bit of a dick and just sort of like pushing them around. It's like they don't matter. We don't have to be nice to them. They're gonna die and there's nothing we can do. But again, it shows that Mobius is possibly a little bit more human than the others, and he's not just like an analyst who's just going to do anything he's told. And then that's when they find C12 or C20, the hunter that got caught by the variant at the start. And at that point in it, we just see her shaking and saying it's real. Yeah. It's real. That's all she's saying. What's real?
I don't know.
I think it's the multiverse. I think she's seen the multiverse somehow, or she's been shown the multiverse by the variant.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, and she's like, it's real. It's not. Doesn't not exist anymore. It is real. And we find out more in a bit. But we go back to Loki and B-15, or the variant basically, and Loki is trying to convince the variant that he's not working for the TVA. He's like undercover, And he's
and this is where I got confused, because I was like, is he double bluffing? Is he just bluffing? Like, I just can't.
We still don't know. We still don't know whether he's completely got turned good. I don't think he'll ever completely turn good. But
I don't think he'll ever turn completely good.
I think it depends. He says it in Ragnarok. He says when Banner says last time I saw you were trying to kill everybody. Where are you up to these days? And he goes, it varies from moment to moment. And it's like, it does vary from moment to moment.
Really
One
does.
day he's trying to be completely nice, and the other moments he's just like a complete nutter trying to take over the world. So he tries. He tries to convince her, and then the variant jumps out of B-15 and into Randy.
Yeah.
At that stage, and Loki basically says he wants to overthrow the Timekeepers, and he wants the variant to help and basically be his lieutenant. So second in command, pretty much. But the variant says, I'm not interested at all. And I can't remember how he says it, but Loki calls her Loki, or him Loki. Yeah. And then it's like proper disgust. It's like, ugh, don't call me that name. I don't want to be called Loki. Which is one of the reasons why it's like, is it, or does she just not want to be known as Loki? Because she's full on. When we see her later on, she's full on dressed like Loki. Yeah, yeah. So why does she not want to be?
I don't know.
Called Loki. We'll see. I'm sure we'll actually see next episode, but we'll see in it.
Can I also just point out? When Loki is Randy.
Yeah.
Did you notice as it zoomed out from Randy, he did the arms?
No.
He did the arms. He did the Loki arms.
Did he?
And that's why I think it is Loki, or a variation of, because I can't even remember what he said at the time. I just saw the arms go out, and it was very much like the Loki pose. And
your savior is here.
Yeah. So I was like, oh.
Maybe it is.
I loved it. When I saw it, I was like, brilliant.
Yeah, it's clever. It is clever. So we go back to Mobius and the hunter from the beginning of the episode, and she's still saying it's real. And she says, I gave it away. I gave the Timekeeper's location away. So are the Timekeepers then?
No, I think that they've just been told that something is there, and this is how we're going to find out that they're not really real.
Do you think? But it seems weird, because when it's like, the first thing I thought about that, to be fair, before I even sort of questioned as to whether it's
going to be Trevor Slattery.
Can you imagine?
Hi, I'm Trevor.
I want a Trevor Slattery variant. But I was just thinking, like, if Mobius has never met these guys, how does a hunter know where they are? Just seemed weird that she'd know the location.
I don't know.
But again, maybe they'll go there looking for him, and they're not there, and that I will find out, or it'll be Mobius in Ravonna's house. Just sat there watching telly, or writing down notes like what's going to happen. She is the Timekeeper. So B-15 wakes up as well and says that Loki's gone, and then we go back to Loki and the variant, or the variant in Randy's body, and Loki's basically saying, what's the plan? What is it you want from me? What is it you're doing? And then Randy just randomly disappears, and he comes back as this big trucker dude, basically, and then starts laying into Loki because he's bigger.
Yeah,
but would he be? I mean, he's still only human. And Loki's an Asgardian. Yeah,
but then
he's got the power of.
I'd say that there was the power in there.
Power in there as well. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, they have this big fight. Loki has like Jedi powers. He just puts his hand out and sucks. I don't know what it was, but he pulls it towards him, which is weird. And then he pulls out the vacuum cleaner and starts swinging it around his head.
It was a funny fight, to be fair.
It was really good, wasn't it?
My favourite bit was the little dog just hitting him in the head when he's lying on the floor.
Up to him,
I was howling.
So anyway, Loki ends up getting knocked down, and the variant, or the variant in the trucker's body, goes and sets all the reset charges. And then that Loki ends up standing up and saying, what do you want from me? And then I think the trucker guy just laughs and then passes out on the floor, and then that's when we see the actual variant come out. And is it at that point she takes the hood, pulls the hood back, and we see Lady Loki at that stage? But is it Lady Loki?
She looked more like Doctor Who in Get Up.
She did a little bit.
she just had a bit of a look.
Yeah.
Of Jodie Foster.
It's clearly...
Jodie Foster.
Not Jodie
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker. It's clearly
Jesus.
Who people thought was Nat in the trailers.
Yeah.
She's got the short blonde hair. Blonde hair, so it must be. And that's when she says...
To be fair, I was expecting a brunette.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I thought from the trailers, the blonde in the trailers was going to be Lady Loki anyway.
I think just because Loki has got
dark hair.
I thought it was going to be pale skin, dark hair. I thought that's kind of what we were going to get because it's a variant of the same person.
But is it a variant of the same person?
Well, now we don't know, do we?
Now we don't know, do we?
But the pose.
The pose.
When she did the pose.
You're doing the pose and you're not Loki.
I know. But it was just...
Listeners, he's doing the pose.
It was just a very Loki thing to do.
It was. So she says, this isn't about you. And then that's when all the reset charges start going off. But they don't go off. They sort of like start loading. And like, because there's like a liquid inside that mixes first before it goes off. But just before they go off, and they can basically prune the area like we've been told, they all start disappearing through like mini time doors underneath them. Which
was really cool, by the way. It's not what I was expecting at all.
No, I thought it was all going to blow up. And I think Loki was expecting it all to blow up as well, wasn't he? And then they all start disappearing. And then we shoot back to the TVA, and then that's when we see
all the timelines going.
These two dudes absolutely panicking, saying they've bombed the timeline. And then
I love the fact that it's like the code was 000. It was like the first one. If shit hits the fan, this is the code. It's the biggest code we need. It's 000.
Why add all the zeros? It's just longer to tell the code, isn't it? So we see the screen, and it's what we see in the trailers. We see the main timeline with all the different branches coming off, and underneath the branches going off, we start to see like locations popping up on the screen. So we see loads of different locations.
Yeah,
most of them are Earth, to be fair.
Yeah,
and then different years and dates.
Okay.
Did you didn't get onto all the different locations?
So to be fair, I've literally been home for about 30 minutes today.
Oh yeah.
So I watched it on my phone. On my lunch. So I couldn't see.
I watched it on the iPad the first time, and I didn't pick up on locations until I watched it back on the tally. But to be fair, some of them aren't like, they're all like, I say big locations. Some of them are big places, but there's like things like Vietnam, Lisbon in Portugal, Coxville, USA, Thornton, USA, Finland, Tokyo, New York, all different years. But then some of the big ones, there is Vormir.
Okay.
Vormir, which is where the Soul Stone is.
Yeah.
Vormir 2301 is the year.
Okay.
There is Asgard 2004. Sakaar 1984. Yeah, so something's happening there.
In the 80s as well.
In the 80s. Titan 1982. What else is there? Xandar 1001. And then the one that I thought was the most interesting, Ego 1382.
Ego, where was that again?
Peter's dad.
Oh.
Yeah. 1382, like, so it can't be anything to do with Peter, but
yeah,
just so many different places. Are we going to see all these places? Are we going to see any of these places?
Be quite cool, wouldn't it?
It would be amazing, wouldn't it? Well, when in the very first episode, when they talk, when they see like the video, it's like cartoon. It's talking about this multiversal war. It looks like that's being fought on Titan, because in the background there's like like all the big, like the weird buildings that were on Titan when Thanos was there, and when he rewound reality. There's like cartoon versions of all them, and it looks like there's Kree fighting there as well. So I do wonder whether like that's something to do with the multiversal war, and maybe that's one of the places that she's gone back to, because it's like, right, well, let's just cock up the multiversal war straight away, and then it doesn't get won, or it doesn't get won by the right side, something like that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. If the multiverse doesn't already exist, which I think it might already, this is it. This is the multiverse. She's just created the multiverse, because all these branches are moving towards that red line very quickly. And you see Ravonna, don't we? We see her like getting that thing off the shelf. It looks like a Barocca stick, and like sending all the Minutemen in to go, jumping through time doors. So whether they can get there and fix all these things that quickly, I don't know, because they all happen in real time, aren't they? So it's like, how are they going to get all these people to all these different places? But it's all kicked off. Yeah, the shit has hit the fan, as we say, big time. And then we go back. Anyway, we go back to just before the end of the episode. We go back to Rock's cart. We see Lady Loki. She basically gets off through the time door, but it doesn't close. And then we see Mobius running towards Loki, and Loki's sort of like just looking between the time door
making that
Mobius.
decision.
Yeah. And we think he decides to to jump and take the leap through the time door.
Right. So my question is he? Did he still have the neck thing on?
No.
Okay.
I don't think he had one anyway. I don't think he had one of them.
Only because in one of the trailers, he appears in somewhere that looks like a gang of thieves.
Yeah.
And then they all suddenly point their weapons at him. And they have like a load of knives at his neck, but he's got the thing on round his neck again.
Isn't that when he's dressed as President Loki?
I can't remember.
I think it's when he's dressed as President Loki. Maybe he's still got the collar on there.
Maybe. Do you reckon maybe that's something to do with Roosevelt then? And he starts running against Roosevelt.
Could be. It could be, couldn't it? I didn't even thought of that. But it could be.
Just with it being Roosevelt High, like maybe that's the link from the pen.
Maybe. I've got a feeling that maybe like Ravonna isn't a...
She's Nixon.
I think surprised if she wasn't. I mean, I like the potential that she's an Eternal.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if she's none of it. She's just human. And she's sort of hijacked.
Or Skrull.
Or she's just
also
the timeline.
You know, we talked about the Flerken last week, by the way.
Yes, Flerken.
I still didn't say it right. I don't know what's wrong with me today. There was a Skrull in the next room.
Was there?
Yeah.
I knew. I'd heard there was a Skrull, but I didn't see it.
When he first walks in,
yeah,
when he's about to go to court with
Ravonna.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with my head. Sorry.
It's fine.
There's a Skrull sat in the benches.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and check.
It's literally like the back of his head, but you can tell by the ear and the yeah.
See, it's got so with these episodes. I mean, I've watched
so many tiny details in it.
I know that I've missed, and we've watched them multiple times. I think most people have watched them multiple times as well. But yeah. Anyway, the episode before we get on to like Podfans Assemble and theories, absolutely amazing episode again.
Loved it.
I was surprised at how good it was because I thought after episode 1 it maybe slowed down a little bit.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. It's
kept
just
pace
moving
really well.
So quick. The fact that we've had the reveal already of Lady Loki, I think there's more to it.
I think there's a lot more to it because I don't think that they'd give a reveal away that quickly.
She can't be the big bad.
No.
If we're 2 episodes in and we've seen it.
I'm still rooting for Mephisto.
That's why I also don't think that's why I'm also not convinced that she is a variant of Loki either. But we'll get onto that. Yeah, we'll get onto that in a bit. Should we do Podfans Assemble?
Yeah, let's do it.
Podfans Assemble.
Okay, so we've got Sean on Facebook who said, gotta say, I'll be really disappointed if variant Loki is actually the ultimate enemy. We got our hero is the villain storyline in WandaVision, plus that kid who looked like a younger Loki pointed at the devil, so come on, Mephisto.
Yeah.
I agree.
Hopefully we're never going to get Mephisto.
I don't think we're going to get him.
We're not, but I hope. Mephisto versus Wanda at the end of the series.
I still think that they're hinting throughout a load of stuff so that he does turn up at some point.
Yeah.
And so whether
he's got to be controlling
whether
all
it's
this.
an introduction the same way as they did Thanos, or whether they've been doing it as red herrings for now, but he will turn up.
Well, that's what they kind of did with Thanos. They kind of, even though we saw him, they did kind of like tease him for a little while. We just saw like very, very short parts of him.
So that's why I'm still thinking that Mephisto's gonna, maybe not for 6 or 7 films yet.
Yeah.
But he's coming.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
Hopefully.
I'm convinced. And I still want it to be what's his name from Prison Break, John.
Oh yeah,
the one that actually played Lucifer in Constantine.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I just think he would be brilliant.
He would be boss.
And I'd also agree with the fact that that the hero is the villain storyline. We've had it.
There's got to be more to it.
Yeah. We've then got We Needed Roads podcast, who pretty much just said, "What an episode!"
Yeah. It summed it up very well.
Totally agree.
That's literally all I saw. Do you know what? I saw that message before I saw the episode because it came through as a Twitter notification.
Yeah.
And literally, as soon as I watched the episode, my first thought was, "Wow, what an episode!" That was amazing.
We've then got Keeper of the Sacred Flame, who said Loki will be the hero of the sacred timeline.
Yeah. I'm still not convinced on him.
I
like it. I hope he is, but I'm still just not convinced he's good up. But whether
I'm
he's
not
good
convinced it's going to be fixed.
Yeah, I'm not convinced it is either.
I'm with everything that's coming. I'm just not convinced.
Yeah.
We've then got Jesse Barry who said there are no timekeepers.
Yeah.
Amazing. Renslayer's running the show because she's a power-hungry hoe. And then she just put it rhymed. Loki will figure all this out. The TVA will disband and be free to live their lives and ride jet skis. The multiverse will ensue. I'm in full agreement with that.
I am, but I'm still not convinced it's not already there, the multiverse. That's the only thing.
Then Herald of Galactus said, that list of locations at the end had me salivating, and the gift that he's put with it of Homer Simpson. That's the gummy bear one, isn't it?
It is the gummy bear one, yeah.
And
well done, Rob.
That's amazing, fair play. And then we've got Paul Sears. Have we just witnessed the start of the multiverse? Wasn't expecting that so early on. Thought that would have happened towards the end of the series. Looking forward to see what Lady Loki, Sylvie, and the real Loki are planning next.
Yeah, so he's going down the Sylvie route. Thanks, Paul. Thank you, everybody, for
guys.
sending the messages in. So I think one of the theories is, again, this is potential spoilers, but again, we're never right, and they never sort of follow the comics exactly. One of the theories is that Lady Loki, who we've seen, isn't Lady Loki, but she's a character called Sylvie, who in the comics becomes a character called the Enchantress, and I think she gets her powers from Loki.
Oh, okay.
Or from a version of Loki, but she might think that she's Loki or not, or be trying to copy him at this point. But I think one of the rumors, one of the theories out there at the moment is, I think you mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Richard E. Grant is in this, and I think a lot of people are hoping that she's working for Loki, and Richard E. Grant is another variant of Loki,
would
and he's
be
like
amazing.
An older version of Loki.
That would be incredible.
That would be so good. Or he could be Mephisto.
Yeah,
I'd go with
I'd
Richard
buy
E.
that.
Grant.
To be fair,
I just think that she must be working for somebody else, rather than her being the big bad, basically. Similar to what?
And maybe she hates that name because she begrudges him being her boss. Ugh, don't say that name.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more to it, though. I'm so excited to what's to come. And again, really, it's only a short series, 6 episodes, but so much has happened in the first 2 already. It's brilliant.
It's been so impressive.
So should we wrap up?
Yeah.
Right, sound brilliant. So if you want to get in touch and send in your theories for Podfans Assemble, you can get in touch with us on Twitter. We are at Superhero Thing. You can find us on Facebook. There's a Facebook group there, so you can get on there and have a chat with us. We're on there all the time, me and Anthony. Let us know your theories on there. So just go on Facebook and search for That Superhero Thing. We've got the website, thatsuperherothing.com. All our contact information is on there. All the social links, Instagram, TikTok. I don't think TikTok's on the website.
I don't think it is.
I will put the link to TikTok on the website. If you want to just search on TikTok, we are at Superhero Thing on TikTok as well. Anthony is getting very good with the videos. He's putting out absolute bangers every time. He's impressing himself. He's impressing me as well. It's brilliant. Alternatively, you can just send us an email at info@thatsuperherothing.com. If you go to the contact us page on the website as well, there is an option to leave us a voice message, and we can include that in the podcast. As we always say, thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed the podcast and you've been listening for a while, or whether you're new to it, it would mean the world to us if you would consider leaving us a review. They help us out massively, help us get noticed. So that would be brilliant. And then, obviously next week we'll be on to Loki episode 3. Still don't know what it's going to be called, and it's not going to be long either until we get to do our Black Widow bonus episode.
Amazing.
So I am looking forward to that. Other than that, though, that's everything from me. Speak to you next week.
All right. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.